rocking Ricky Rialto, a poster of like Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones, and it's just cool.
Snow White at the movie theater. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today is October 26th, our 26th day of our 31 days of Halloween here on the channel, and we're happy to be towards the end of this.
It's been a lot of work again.
Yes, but today's a really great movie because it is a movie that is presented by Steven Spielberg, and it is directed by Joe Dante. We are talking about a 1984 classic, Gremlins. Gremlins is a phenomenal movie, if you ask me. So I've always loved this movie. We've talked about it briefly a little bit on was it last year or is our first year that we started doing a podcast? We talked about it during Christmas time because this is
we had a Christmas episode with Donnie.
Yeah, and we've talked about this movie before, saying that it's a movie you can watch at either holiday. You can watch it on Halloween, you can watch it in Christmas. This is a family scary movie, I'd say. It's a dark comedy. It's really great. It has a great score, and with great cinematography, great casting, great characters. And some of the cutest and ugliest things you've ever seen in your life. So, Gremlins is such a fun rewatch for me because I probably haven't seen this movie in a couple of years, and like it's not that I forgot about it at all. I know this movie through and through, but it's like one of those movies that you watch and you just are captivated by the nostalgia of it, the magic that is made in the 80s style of cinematography and shooting. There's just such a like very, very deep root of nostalgia in these kinds of movies, and you feel it in Gremlins. This is a really fun movie. For those of you who haven't seen Gremlins, it is a movie that takes place during Christmas time. It is about a guy who's seeking to find a present for his son, and he wanders into an old like Chinese shop that's kind of like underground, like an underground market, just for a one-man operated shop, and he finds a gremlin or a mogwai, and he proposes to the guy, "Hey, I'll give you $100 for it. Actually, I'll give you $200 for it. I really want this for my son." Guy's like, "No, you can't have it. It's too much like responsibility." And kind of like leaves him, and then his grandson is like, "We need the money, so here you go, like take it," and just follow the 3 rules. And the 3 rules of the Gremlins are: you don't expose them to light, especially sunlight, it'll kill them. You don't feed them you don't get them wet. And then the third one's the most important one: you do not feed them after midnight. And so of course, setting this up at the beginning of the movie, you know that things are going to go wrong because it's giving you those 3 rules, and at the beginning of the movie, you know they're going to break those rules. So he takes him home to his family. The gremlin, his name is Gizmo. He's super adorable and such a funny little creative character, creative puppet for this movie, and he gives him to his son Billy, and it's up to Billy to take care of it. And Billy, unfortunately, has a couple of mistakes, as kids usually do, even though Billy's like a teenager, late teens, if anything. He still messes up, gets him wet, spawns a bunch of other little mogwai. Eventually, they're all kind of evil, honestly, even from the beginning.
Yeah, they're pretty evil. The leader is Stripe, and what Billy does is he's sitting there and they're just rambling inside the little crate. They're hungry, and he feeds them, but he doesn't realize this clock's been sabotaged by these little mogwai. And he feeds them after midnight, and they become cocoons in the morning. And after that, all hell starts breaking loose. He actually takes one over to the school, so like the scientist, the teacher, he does like experiments on him, and there's that that's the other gremlin, and I think he hatches first, and then Stripe and all the other ones hatch and go after his mother. So this is when the horror actually starts happening in the town.
Yeah, but it's like before it leads up to that, what happens is like after his mom gets attacked, his mom's able to kill them all except for Stripe.
Yeah, and there's so many awesome scenes.
And then Stripe escapes the house, goes to the swimming pool and jumps in, and you just see it like fester and start bubbling and oozing, and like you're like, oh crap, like he didn't just get a drop of water, he submerged himself in a pool. And then you get 100 if not more gremlins that are just spawned from Stripe, and it's so cool because the puppetry is really impressive.
Yeah, the practical effects in this movie are just movie magic. So many wonderful monumental scenes. We have the ones like back in the kitchen, like how he kills the one in the microwave. We also have the one where Billy chops its head off and it flies into the fire. Yeah, there's just so many good scenes in this movie. The bar scene. The bar scene's the best. I mean, you have great. That 80s just nostalgia of these gremlins. The one is like super magic, super magic, and you see this gremlin has like
old like leg warmers,
leg warmers, and just it's so funny. And then you have that little gremlin in the back that is just sitting there, kind of like a facade of like a nightclub scene from like the 50s. And then you have this little gremlin come and go, and then he takes a mallet and just smashes his head. It's funny. Such a funny scene. And the practical effects in this film are just so good and so wonderfully done. And like Joe Dante at this time period, he's just a great director. He did a lot of movies in the 80s, especially horror movies. He did the Howling. Mm-hmm. He also did some of my favorite movies. He did The Twilight Zone. He also did The Burbs, like later, and then he did a movie that I just found out recently that he did that was like one of my favorite movies. Like, you need to watch this movie. Like, it's a kid's movie too. Okay. It's called Explorers, and it's with a young Ethan Hawke into River Phoenix before he passes away.
Okay.
It's called Explorers. It's from 1985. All right. Awesome movie. Joe Dante directed that one. And this is just a masterful like movie. I mean, there's so many like Easter eggs that are in this movie, and just references to like the times with rockin' Ricky Rialto, a poster of like Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones, and it's just cool.
Snow White at the movie theater, and they're all like, "Hi ho!" It's funny. A lot of references, and you get a cool finale too. I think the finale is awesome, where they're in the hardware store.
It's actually in Montgomery Wards.
Is it?
if you notice, it is in Montgomery Wards.
That's funny. And it's a really cool conclusion. A battle it's Billy and Gizmo versus Stripe. And it's cool, especially when Stripe dies. Like, it is really cool, like a cool ass like I'm melting moment.
Yeah, and the practical effects are super, super awesome. And Gizmo's just funny. I know before he kills him, he flies off the shovel and he's driving a Barbie like Corvette, and it's just so cool. And he flies off and he hits the like the little shade, and he says light bright, and then that's how he actually kills him. So it's really cool.
Yeah. Great movie. Really, really fantastic movie. So much fun, especially for an entire family. This is a good introduction to horror movie for younger kids, for sure. So definitely, it's got a PG rating. It's definitely, I think I can see where people might rate it a little higher than that, but I think that this is perfect. It is 80s nostalgia, all wrapped into one with a bow. It's great. It's a great movie. I give Gremlins a 5 out of 5. I think Gremlins is just flawless. Score, cinematography, direction, all of it. So check. What's your score?
It's a 5. There's no doubt about it. It's Gremlins. It's a classic horror movie. Everybody knows this movie. It's 80s nostalgia. I was a little kid when this movie came out. Like I was like 9 or 10, and I watched this movie, and I love this movie, and I always will. So
yeah,
it's a 5.
All right. So if you know what time it is trivia fun fact time.
Fun facts for Gremlins.
Okay, the set of Kingston Falls is the same one used for Back to the Future in 1985. Both movies were filmed on the Universal Studios backlot.
Another classic. Maybe we'll go into that one later in the future.
Originally, Stripe and Gizmo were the same character. This changed when executive producer Steven Spielberg insisted one of the Gremlins be a good guy with whom the audience could identify. Director Joe Dante expresses that this direction was the reason why the film is fondly remembered.
That's really cool.
Cantonese, Mogwai means devil, demon, or gremlin. The Mandarin pronunciation is Mogwai.
Yeah, Mogwai. And Gremlin, that was the cool part. Remember Dick Miller's in this movie.
Yeah,
Dick Miller's been in so many 80s movies. It's like Gremlins. Real gremlins.
Yeah, no, it's good. The Santa speech proved to be controversial, and the studio executives insisted upon its removal because they felt it was too ambiguous to whether it was supposed to be funny or sad. Director Joe Dante, however, stubbornly refused to take the scene out, saying it represented this movie as a whole, which had a combination of horrific and comedic elements. Executive producer Steven Spielberg did not like the scene, but despite his creative control, he viewed this movie as Dante's project and allowed him to leave it in. Which I'm glad he did, because the Santa scene definitely hits hard.
Yeah, and Phoebe Cates, we didn't mention her. She portrayed that really well, and she also portrays like Christmas for some people isn't joyful, it's sorrow, because things happen at Christmas and people can remember it because it's a holiday you can't ever forget.
Yeah. An earlier attempt to have monkeys play the Gremlins was abandoned because the test monkeys panicked when made to wear a gremlin head.
That's hilarious.
It's funny. The film was released on the same day as Ghostbusters in 1984.
That is really cool.
That's a double feature and a half right there. Yeah. One of the studio notes to director Joe Dante and executive producer Steven Spielberg on seeing the first cut was that there were too many Gremlins. Spielberg suggested cutting them all out and calling the movie People.
That's funny.
That's funny. At least one of Phoebe Cates' screams in the scene at Dory's Tavern is genuine. An enormous cockroach crawled out in front of her during one take.
That is hilarious.
Chris Columbus' script went through a few drafts before a shooting script was finalized. His original version had the Gremlins killing the dog and cutting off the mom's head and tossing it down the stairs. These elements were never shot due to the fact that director Joe Dante and Warner Bros. Wanted the movie to be more family-oriented, which I'm glad they did. The Gizmo puppets were particularly frustrating because they were smaller and thus broke down more. Consequently, to satisfy the crew, a scene was included in which the Gremlins hang Gizmo on a wall and throw darts at him. This was included on a list that the crew created, known to them as the horrible things to do to Gizmo list.
Poor little Gizmo. His little eyes, they animated him so he was like, his little mouth sucks in. Remember, they're throwing darts at him on the board.
This movie and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which came out in 1984, are credited with inspiring the MPAA to create the PG-13 rating. Many felt the movies were too violent for a PG rating, but not violent enough for an R rating. Subsequently, the first movie to be released into theaters with a PG-13 rating was Red Dawn in 1984, which came out a couple of months later in August. Another film that received the rating, The Flamingo Kid, in 1984, was supposed to be in theaters in summer of 1984, but was delayed to December. 1984 sounds like a freaking awesome year.
Yeah, it was a good year. And Red Dawn, have you ever seen that movie?
I have seen Red Dawn.
Red Dawn's a really good
Charlie
movie.
Sheen.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah, it's there's just so many movies that I'm realizing that came out in 1984. Something to think about. Let's see. Executive producer Steven Spielberg had a great working relationship with screenwriter Chris Columbus on this movie, and he produced the next two movies Columbus scripted, The Goonies, based on an idea Steven Spielberg had, and Young Sherlock Holmes, which was Columbus's idea, although 3 years were spent working on those three movies. I've never seen Young Sherlock Holmes.
You've never seen Young Sherlock Holmes?
No, I've never
seen it.
Oh,
it's awesome.
Okay. I'm putting it on the watch list.
Yeah, these are all movies potentially in the future we might be covering on the channel.
All right. I got one last one for you guys. After watching Tim Burton's early short films, executive producer Steven Spielberg considered him to direct this movie. He decided against it, however, because at the time Burton had never directed a full feature-length movie.
Wow. Cool.
I think Burton would have done a good job, but I think Joe Dante
was a perfect fit. I mean, he's an excellent director, honestly.
All right, so that's going to be it for our fun facts. That's going to be it for today's episode of our 31 Days of Halloween, day 26. Yeah, thank you so much for being here and supporting us. Thank you. Hit that like and subscribe button down below, or if you want to help us out even more, go to patreon.com/thecalvincam. Join one of our 3 tiers over there and, become a community member. Or you can follow us on our social media platforms, Instagram and TikTok. It's free to follow. So please go over there, check us out, become a member of our community that's forever growing so far. Yeah, I appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you on day 27.
See you then.